Welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered Podcast. Rob and Larry are still out, but they will be returning on July 8th. In the meantime, sit back and listen to a few old clips from past episodes.
Welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered. It's Rob and Larry in your ear again. We don't need letters before or after our names. Just two drunks with a lot on our brains. Sit back, relax, let us carry the load. We've walked that dark and winding road. We're just two alcoholics with a lot to say. This is Recovery Unfiltered. You can stay a while today.
Here are a few clips with our friend Brandon. He was struggling with some anger, so we brought him into the studio to talk about it.
Something I heard at church today,
Ooh.
and we've been hearing it a lot, but maybe I just heard it today finally, was that, if you've accepted God or Jesus into your life, you've been forgiven, and you need to let all that go. And no matter what's going on in your life, you've already reached victory. So it should be, I don't know if I could say it right, but it should be evident in your personality that you've
won.
It should
We won.
display.
And I need to take that, and I've been thinking about it. It's only been an hour or so, but I've been thinking about that since I left church, and I've been trying to think that. We got home, and my wife said, well, you could just start spreading the joy here, and don't worry about spreading it to strangers right away. She goes, just spread joy around our house for now. I said, yeah, I'm trying to.
Is everybody walking around you nervously at home?
Yeah. Every time my kids walk through the room, are you okay, Dad? Are you in a bad mood? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just sitting here quietly. I feel like saying, I'm not drinking. I mean, what more?
Well,
do you
want a fucking pat on the back for not drinking, but you know what? They want dad.
Yeah.
They want fucking dad. So, and the sad part about it, Brandon, is that we've seen the other side of you. We've seen you happy and joyous.
Yeah, I know. And I'm
we have
gonna get there.
But to me, it's a process that I have to go through all the time because, like I said, as soon as I feel it, I want to resolve it, right? Same way as I do any instant gratification. As soon as I feel that anger or that starting to shut down, that weight starting to come on my shoulder, I have to stop and go, what's causing this? Because I don't want to be like that.
No,
I don't want to be that person because I was that person for so very long. I don't want to be that person. And for God's sakes, I want to be joyous. I want my serenity. And you guys have heard me say this so many times. The alcohol is not why I stay sober. It's not, right? I stay sober for my serenity and the peace and the happiness that I have in life.
Yeah.
That's why I do it. And if I don't have that, what's the point, right? So I work on that peace and that serenity more than I do anything else. Like I said, alcohol is not a thought process for me anymore. It's not.
Wasn't our problem anyway.
No. Now my process is how do I keep this peace and this joy that I have found through my sobriety, right?
Yeah.
By getting involved in AA, by getting involved with the men, by getting involved in helping somebody else, I have found this serenity. And by using different ways of how I deal with my trauma and how I've dealt with my past and how I deal with other people, I've learned that process of I can't change you. Beyond my nose, I can't fix anything past that. I can't.
Yeah.
And the more I try, the more angry I get. And I ceased fighting. I don't want to fight that battle because I'm not going to win no matter what.
I struggled a lot with forgiveness of self, shame, guilt, all that stuff that I carried. It's not mine to carry, never was. But especially once I worked the steps into the best of my ability, but yet for a long time.
What was the first thing I asked you after doing my amends? One of the first things I asked him, I'm like, I've done all this, but how do I do an amends to myself?
And we talked about it. And then,
I can't. Right now I'm starting to choke up. Just saying that, I choke up a little bit because I still battle with that. I still battle with that to this day. That how do I still get mad at myself for some of the shit that I put my wife through? When I talk about some of that stuff, I'm like, how this beautiful lady that has stuck by, how did I do that to her? How did I do that to her? What a shitty piece of shit. You know how I get through it?
I was, but I am not anymore.
But how I get through that is she's still with me, right? She's still here. So why continue to beat myself up? She's here. She forgave me, right? If she forgave me, I should be able to forgive myself.
Jesus forgives us?
Right. I should be able to forgive myself.
And today, carry on being the man you should have been, but are today. And, you know, not perfect by any means, but walk that man. You know,
we can't fake it, right? We can't overdo.
Which I appreciate, which is why I appreciate Brandon a lot more than, because you know how he feels. You know where you stand, and you know which is awesome.
Right.
That's genuine, and that's why
I could say when I first started working with Gabe, I mean, I was voluntold that I was going to be his sponsor, and I thought barely got 90 days. I don't even know if I did, and it might have been just over 90 days. He said, "You guys said, well, you're going to sponsor him," and when I worked with him the first few times, I just told myself, all right, you're just going to, so I guess I did fake it. I acted like I had it all together.
Right.
I tried to give good advice, just told him, you know. So that was probably the first step of me being able to put on a front that I didn't even believe it yet.
Well, you weren't feeling it at the time.
Well, no, not really. I wasn't, but And then he came in yesterday, and he really needed to talk.
He needed it,
and gave me that sense of purpose. Right. And I thought, and then you had just told me there was somebody you wanted me to see.
Right.
And then an hour or so later, Rob calls me and asks me to come to this, and I don't know, the day just went better. Just knowing that I had something to do.
Right. We put ourselves
other than just not drink.
Right.
Because that is getting to be
giving ourselves
the weight
purpose.
of that is weighing on me. I need something more.
But since the home has suffered more than anything else,
I need to work
it is
on
well that a man exert himself there.
Right.
Yes.
He is not likely to get far from any direction if he fails not to show unselfishness, love under his own roof.
Right.
First and foremost, the home.
Friday night at Maynard's, right? Because I had surgery, right? This is the first recording I've had since I've had surgery. I was still in a ton of pain, right? The drive up there hurt like a bitch. So what did I have to do? I had to put on that happy clown, and get in front of this group of alcoholics.
That is the time when we're supposed to. This is the only time that I agree with fake it till you make it or act as if is in situations like that.
I had to, right? I had to get in there. Yeah. I had a commitment that I had to do. I had to get in there and put on that happy face and talk to them about the peace and the serenity. Because if I'd have went in there with a shitty fucking smile and a shitty ass, fake ass shit, they would have saw right through it. Us alcoholics, we can read bullshit.
Oh boy.
We can read bullshit and from a mile a fucking way if somebody's lying to us or somebody's trying to fill us full of shit. So I can't go in there with a half-ass attitude. I have to go in there wide open with my peace and my serenity. And I took my wife on purpose to that one because her being in there with me created more of that peace and that serenity that I had. If she hadn't have been with me, I may not have had as much as I was able to display. Now, when I left there, I got in the truck and cried like a little bitch because I was...
Where's the baby sound?
Little bitch.
Do the baby sound.
Katie hates when I do it. But I had to put on... Shut up. I had to put on that for those people, right? So we have to put on that clown face every once in a while.
Right.
Every once in a while, it's necessary when we're dealing with a sponsee, when we're doing certain things. But when you're in the house of a fucking your own home, or you're with your group of buddies, or your group of AA buddies, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Show the pain. Talk.
Yeah.
Right? Your wife, I promise you, if you opened up to her and started talking to her about what you're angry with, she is going to walk with you.
Or not necessarily that he is angry. She's like, babe, I'm brand new and I just don't know how to process this right now.
Why not give her the opportunity to help him?
Oh, absolutely.
Why? Give her the opportunity to sit with you and talk. I do with Katie all the time. It was hard.
That's my pride.
Yeah.
Fuck that pride.
I know.
Or just giving the peace of mind. Hey, it's not you. This is what I'm dealing with, and it's outside, and I'm just struggling with it. But just let them know it ain't them until the time they can have that, because it takes time to get to that point of communication.
For me, I talk to my wife. I open up to Katie more now than I do my sponsor. I couldn't do that in the beginning, right? Because I didn't know how to. But I
send her a big fat check a week, man, to take that burden off of her.
Well, all of you guys, but because I have that kind of relationship with my wife, and I didn't have it in the beginning. I didn't.
But that's 3 years in the making.
Right. And what I had to do is when I would come home and I would
But
sit
it starts
there.
today, Brandon.
Yeah. When I would sit there and I would stew, she would say, "What's wrong?"
Yeah.
And I had to trust that she wasn't going to be mad at me when I started talking about the stuff that was bothering me. I had to trust that. And because I was opened up to her and because I talked to her about stuff, she doesn't judge me by my thought processes that I come through. And I promise you, Jamie won't. Sorry. I hope she doesn't bother that.
No.
But I promise you, because she put up with your shit through all your drinking, she's in it for the long haul.
Oh, yeah.
She ain't running.
No.
She ain't running. Because if she was going to run, she would already ran.
The next few clips are from episode 59 with our friend Jim Hart. This episode is still one of our most listened to episodes. The struggles of this first responder is real and unfiltered.
I'm the youngest of 12. We're Irish Catholic from North Denver.
Did they breed like rabbits?
Yeah. Well, Mom and Dad didn't have a TV, so
That's right.
And Dad said he only wanted 6 kids, so apparently it was the bottom 6.
Yeah.
So the first 6 he didn't want.
Yeah.
We got into that conversation last night.
Yeah. So
They discovered condoms later.
I had 7 brothers, 4 sisters, and by the time I was born, I had 6 nieces and nephews. So grew up in an Irish Catholic family. My mom worked full-time taking care of us, and Dad worked full-time or another job taking, paying the bills and whatnot. And I think, there was always drinking around the house. It was no big deal. I mean, in Colorado, you could drink if you were 18. So all my older brothers were still living there, and they had a case of beer here, a case of beer there. So there was beer all the time. And I never had met either of my grandfathers, but both my parents told me that they drank quite a bit. They said, your grandpa drank too much because they had both passed away by the time I was born. My parents were born back in the 20s. My dad fought in World War II. But my dad was not a heavy drinker. Like, he went to work, came home, went to sleep. That was it. He just worked and worked and worked. The only time I would see him drink was holidays. He loved his St. Patrick's Day. He loved his Easter. He loved Christmas. And I had older brother-in-laws that were, they already had kids my age. So I think I saw all those guys, serious men, and they worked all the time. But then on holidays, boom, it was this lighthearted atmosphere. And I just thought.
You didn't realize they were normal.
Yeah, my dad was, I don't want to say he was a grumpy man, but he was serious when I was young. And then on holidays, he would just be this jovial, happy guy. And I guess I thought, maybe it's because he's drinking.
Right.
But he didn't drink that much. He only had a drink here and there, and he'd sing and just let himself go. So I think as I got older, I started thinking that. And then, I drank. Who knows? Everybody you'd set your mug down, and I'd grab it and take a swig of it. Hated that shit. Couldn't stand the taste of it.
Whiskey or beer?
Both.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't like either of them. And then we had this old guy behind us that's what I thought an alcoholic was. So in our yard, you could climb up the back fence, and there was an old guy behind us that would drink and stumble out of the house and fall down, sleep in his yard, or his wife would kick him out or whatever. And so I thought that was an alcoholic. To me, that was an alcoholic.
The visualization.
It is, but yeah.
Yeah,
But
it
it's
is.
that visualization of the alcoholic, right? It's not that internal alcoholic. It's what you saw.
That was what I saw. And
Right.
then I had some uncles that were that way on my mom's side, and they didn't come around. I mean, we had big family parties, and they weren't there because Mom didn't really get along with them because they were alcoholics of that type.
Alcoholics. Yeah.
So I never thought that I could be an alcoholic of that type, and so I just kept going. This was 2005.
Okay.
So I went in, and this is as much as I went in. I got a sponsor. We went to 3 meetings or something like that. Smoke was hanging low. Everybody's cussing you out. I'm making coffee, and my sponsor went back out. So as soon as he went back out, I started telling my wife I'm going to a meeting, but there was a liquor store and a bar within a few 100 yards of that. So I would just, I could drink for an hour and a half. She thought I was at a meeting, and I wouldn't come home too tuned up, but enough that, it felt good to me, but she didn't really know it. And I tried my best to stay. I would make it 3 months, or I'd make it 2 months here and there. And then in 2008, I just gave up, said I'm going back to it, and I was off. And I just kept going. And then Marla and I got divorced in 2012.
Okay.
Is when we got divorced. And that was a bad year for me. In 2012, in May, my sister died of cancer. And then in January 2013, my mom died. Now, I was around my mom.
Cancer too, or no?
No, she was 89. She had Parkinson's and some other things. But I was around her. I wasn't around my sister. But I just, you know, I'm an alcoholic, so I was selfish. Well, hey, do you guys realize I'm going through a divorce?
Oh, boy.
What about me?
Yeah, poor me.
Why is nobody...
Poor me.
Pour me another drink.
I understand my sister's sick and got cancer, but I'm going through a divorce. You know, where's the poor me? And I'm not getting it. So I just kept drinking. And then when I got divorced from her, I moved into an apartment, and I don't even know if you could call it all universe the way I was drinking. Like, it was out of control all day, every day.
But you were making it to work.
I was making it to work, and at that time I wasn't assigned to a firehouse. I was assigned to the office.
Okay.
And so, you know, they were shorter days. So I was off by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was nothing for me to drink.
5 days a week for that.
4 days a week, yeah.
Okay.
It was nothing for me to drink from 3 in the afternoon until midnight.
Right.
And then I was able to sleep for 7-8 hours or whatever.
And go back to work.
Go back to work. And then weekends, I got a 3-day weekend every weekend. So it was guaranteed 3 days. And then
Perfect.
That's good. That's good drinking schedule.
I had a great drink. And even in the firehouse, you work 24, you're off 48, and then every 3 weeks you get 5 days. So, boom, I'd start on that first day. So I was drunk for 5 days.
I picked the wrong fucking profession.
All of us did. Hey, I had a lot of buddies that were firefighters, and it sounds about the same.
Yeah.
It was definitely a frat boys kind of attitude when I was really.
That's what you were saying the other day. They were coming in the front doors. They were going out the back door.
There was only at the time there was 5 of us that were firefighters, and plus my brother-in-law was a firefighter. My dad and my grandpa had retired, and they were gone. My other brother, we always teased him because he was a cop because he just couldn't pass the fireman test, you know. He failed. But
there you go.
Yeah.
Those two professions.
Well, we're Irish. What else do we do? We had no idea what else you could do. We didn't know you could actually work for a living.
A group of degenerates.
Degenerates, yeah. And started hanging with them. And I would say about halfway through our marriage, she realized that I wasn't turning it off. I wasn't backing down at all. And she was. And she was giving me a little, not grief, but just like, hey, you should watch what you're doing. You need to cut back. And instead of it making me realize that we should bond.
Right.
I pulled the other way. Like, you can't tell me what the hell to do. I'll do what I want.
I was drinking when I met you. And I'll continue to drink. God damn it.
I can't tell you how many times I said that. Like, you knew who you married.
This is who you married, lady.
Yeah. You made the choice.
Right.
So
what does Rob call that? Rational?
Justify, rationalize, and minimize.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And so I told my ex, I said, this is the way I'm going to be. Mm-hmm. Well, you need to quit. Well, I'll quit when I'm dead. I'll quit. And I fought her on it all the time. And life just got out of control for me. I started getting really, really bad. And now I was in the firehouse, so I was working a day. And earlier in my career, I would never call in sick. I mean, you would have had to cut my leg off to get me out sick. But now, if I woke up and had a little brown bottle flu, I was calling in sick because I wasn't going to go there like that.
Lowered your bar.
And I also told myself, you know, how could I be an alcoholic? I'm sobering up every 3rd day.
Right.
You know, alcoholics can't quit drinking. I was sober every 3rd day, so there's no way.
Say it.
Justify, rationalize, minimize.
Yeah,
tell by the way he was looking.
You could just keep checking that box this whole way.
Well, it just means we're lying to ourselves.
Right.
That's all it means. Once you start doing that, in sobriety or not in sobriety, it doesn't matter. You're lying to yourself.
Right.
You're getting ready to lie to other people.
And I knew I would admit I was an alcoholic. I'd make a joke out of it and say, hey, the first step's admitting it. I know I'm an alcoholic. You know, and then I'd move on.
And then fuck you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm an alcoholic. I was the same way. My wife would say, you know, you're not. Yeah, I know I'm an alcoholic. And I'd walk outside and get another beer.
And I call myself a functioning alcoholic. I don't know what the hell.
What did I tell
means.
you yesterday?
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We've got into this conversation pretty deep. During my alcoholism, I was running a pretty big company flawlessly.
Yeah.
Even when I got sober, I knew that I'd ran it flawlessly. So that's when I say high functioning alcoholic,
Many of us
I was an extremely high functioning alcoholic. Now, come around 8 o'clock at night, I probably couldn't have done that. But I maintained a level of blood, of alcohol in my system all day long
BAC was
Right.
0.11 all the time.
Right. Nonstop until from about 6 o'clock until 8:30, because then I was trying to put myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you'd wake up at 2 a.m. thinking, fuck, with what I drank, I should have been asleep all night.
Yeah.
But you're awake.
And and drink some more to put me back to
See,
sleep.
I wouldn't do that. I would have I'd have to stay awake. Cause
No, I would. That's why I kept my whiskey outside. I'd go out there and
different job.
Yeah, I because I wanted enough to put me back to sleep until 5:30, because that's when the liquor store would open. I'd do that on the way. So, anyways,
Mine was a little different just because I wouldn't drink that third day.
Right.
You know, when I went to work, and maybe that's why the high functioning, because I never was missing work. None of the yets. Hadn't got a DUI. I had lost a marriage, but I didn't consider that my fault. That obviously had to be Marla's fault for telling me it was not my fault.
Right.
It had to be. She was such a great woman, but I'm blaming everything on her. Well, she was mean. She wanted me to quit drinking. She wanted me to quit doing this. How I couldn't stay married to her. There's no way. You know,
I'm justified in doing all this shit.
yeah, because I'm keeping a job. And
you're the crazy one.
Yeah. And I drove to this park and this park trying to find, and I went in one park. I jump out of the truck and I reach in the back seat to load my gun, and I look around and there's families, and I thought, I'm not doing to them what happened to me. So I just loaded everything back up, and I went up in the mountains, and I found this randomly. I picked Golden Gate Canyon, and you know, Colorado, there's canyons everywhere. So I picked this random canyon. I go up there. I had a bottle of whiskey in the truck, and that was a coincidence because it was left over from St. Patrick's Day. So of course, I'm going to drink it, right? But that did nothing. I mean, I didn't even have time to get drunk to do anything. So I drive up. Finally, I get secluded. My cell goes out. I have no cell service, and it was quiet. I was following this propane truck that was filling houses up the hill, and I couldn't hear a thing. I had the windows open. I couldn't hear anything. It was just dark. And so I pull off the side of the road, and I'm up against this hillside. And I just reached over, grabbed the gun, and thought, I got to do it quick. And I put it under my chin, and I pulled the trigger. And I heard a click. The gun clicked. And I thought, I shouldn't hear, what the fuck? I shouldn't be hearing anything. And so I thought, well, I must have screwed something up. So I look at the gun, and it's on fire. It's not on safety. So I pull the slide and eject that round out of my AR into my truck. And I step out and fire a round into the hillside. So I had it working for something, that one didn't go. So I got back in the truck, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to find my friends on. Because the first time was just impulse, you know. And this one, I look at it, and it says SOS. So I said, well, I'm not doing it here because there's snow still around. They're not going to find me. You know, I kind of went into the same mode that poor guy at the firehouse was in. I don't want to lay here and be dead for a week. So I start driving down this random canyon, and I see this white car up ahead. And as I drive by, it's my brother. He's still looking for me. You know, it's been like 2.5 hours. He's looking for me. And he's crying. I got my ex's face in my head, and then now his. And he's the same look. So I pulled over, and I just gave up. And it was so heavy, man. The weight, it was 10,000 pounds if it was anything, man. It was so heavy. And I just couldn't see. I hated myself so bad because I was a cheater and a boozer and a liar, and I didn't see any way out of that, you know? I had no way out. I didn't think. I was without hope.
Right.
And so I laid there, and the guns, my brother luckily had said a smart thing to the cop. They said, is he getting to suicide by cop? And my brother said, I don't know. I've never seen him like this. Maybe. I mean, he's an angry man, so he could. So they were ready. They came up, and they had guns drawn. And 2 Denver SWAT officers, this is up in Golden now, they drove around the other cops, and they said, we got him, because they knew me, because we'd worked together. And they put the cuffs on me, and they picked me up, and one of them just hugged me. He says, man, let's get you some help. And I couldn't say anything. I sat in their car. I don't remember what I told them, but they took me to Denver General, and they put me on a mental health hold, which was supposed to be 72 hours. And I was just in this. I remember waking up at some point and thinking, man, what have I done? I went from being a guy in charge of 36 firefighters, millions of dollars of equipment, people's lives, to sleeping in this bed in a mental health ward. How far have I fallen in my life. You know, I didn't get a DUI, didn't lose my job, didn't lose my house, but I had lost my mind. And I was okay with losing my mind. I was not okay with admitting why. Because I thought, so that's when I kind of admitted I was drinking too much, but that wasn't the reason. And that's what really got me is it wasn't the booze. I didn't go out and try to kill myself that day because I was drunk. I did it because of me, who I was.
Here's my obscure question.
Okay.
The round that you ejected from the AR that went in the back seat, did you ever grab that and look at the primer?
No, the cops did. They destroyed it. They said it was dimpled.
Dry round.
Mm-hmm.
Dry round.
Or was it?
Was this like self-loaded ammo, or was this something you
No,
purchased?
it was purchased.
Do you see God's hand in that at all?
Oh yeah. You know,
You'd be stupid not to.
Well, hey, I gotta ask.
I know.
You want to hear God's hand. So my brother that was looking for me, his wife is she prays. She's stout. She prays all the time. She believes in everything, and she's a wonderful woman. He called her. He says, Jim's out. He's trying to kill himself. Start praying. And she went up to her prayer room, and she didn't pray to God. She prayed to God to make my guardian angel save me. And all she prayed is that the gun wouldn't work. That's all she prayed for, is that the gun wouldn't work. So I want to say I was spoiled not seeing that as a God shot because I was a spoiled bitch. I mean, I'd gone into buildings. I didn't even realize how many times he had saved me in a building, or, you know, something falling on my head, or not getting killed in a DUI accident, whatever it was. I never realized all these things that he'd done. So I was spoiled. I didn't really chalk it up to that. I chalked it up to, I don't know why, for a while. And then it hit me that, you know, you're here for something.
Mm-hmm.
What was your sister-in-law's response? Like knowing that she knew exactly.
Yeah. As soon as she heard, she said, "That's all
Sure,
I prayed
she
for."
didn't have a doubt.
She has no doubt in her mind that her praying for that is what caused that, and that's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband, my brother, he was really, really. I feel so much guilt. I mean, I know, you know, everything causes guilt, but I put him through hell. That poor guy looked, and that was the other thing. Why did he go up that canyon? Why? Why
you
in the
said
fuck
you said in the beginning it was very out of the way place.
It was, and he didn't know I ever went up there. So why did Joe turn up that canyon and say, "This is the one I'm going to look for him at"? He'd looked for me in parks. He'd looked for me all over. He went to my parents' gravesite looking for me, and he said, "I'm going to just turn up this canyon and see if he's up here." And there I was.
How far off the main road were you?
Oh, that was 3 miles up. I had driven up till it turns from asphalt into dirt, and then I was coming back.
Wow.
So
Well,
there was God was all over it. You know, but I didn't see it. I was so lost in everything else, and just, I felt like the devil. Like there was no way I could put anything together. I just felt so bad. And it took a long time for me to quit feeling. I still feel the guilt.
right.
You know,
Yeah, I was going to ask.
I'm never going to not feel the guilt.
So one of the things that, you know, that as you were talking about that heaviness, you know, it's hard for me, even this far removed from that deep depression that I was in, to listen to another human being talk about it, because it takes me to that spot, to that moment. And for anybody that's never felt what you and I, and once again, not the PTSD, none of that, but how you describe that heaviness and how deep and dark you were, it's brutal. It's a brutal place to be. And to hear another human being describe it the same way it feels to me, it literally grips me and takes me to that spot for a moment, but I'm able to grab myself and get back out of it. Now, when you hear other people talking about this, that kind of stuff, do you find yourself still feeling that, seeing it?
I think when I hear people like in the meetings talk about it, I just want to hug them.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I want to do what that
Yep.
Denver cop did for me. I
Yep.
want to pick them up and I want to hug them and tell them, "You can be all right, man. We're going to
Oh,
get
yeah.
you some help." And that cop, here's a great story. The next January, I was at the Stock Show Rodeo in Denver, and he was working. I saw him and I picked him out. Now, I can't remember anything from that day, and I picked that guy's face out. And I went up and said, "Do you remember me?" And he says, "Oh my God, yes, I do."
Wow.
And man, I thanked him so much because he knew I was a mess and everything was just a wreck, but he's like people in AA. He didn't judge.
Right.
He didn't judge. He just was so glad that he got me before I was dead. That's a guy that does his job for the right reasons.
Right.
Right. And there's so many of them that do, We don't want people to get hurt, but it tears us apart. I remember waking up at some point and thinking, man, what have I done? I went from being a guy in charge of 36 firefighters, millions of dollars of equipment, people's lives, just sleeping in this bed in a mental health ward. How far have I fallen in my life? I didn't get a DUI, didn't lose my job, didn't lose my house, but I had lost my mind. And I was okay with losing my mind. I was not okay with admitting why. Because I thought, so that's when I kind of admitted I was drinking too much, but that wasn't the reason. And that's what really got me it wasn't the booze. I didn't go out and try to kill myself that day because I was drunk. I did it because of me, who I was. So they put me in a mental health hold for 72 hours. And the doctor came to me. Now, it was over Easter. So it was good. It was Holy Thursday that I went in there, and Good Friday, Saturday. And on Easter Sunday, my son and his wife came to see me. And nobody, you're talking the mental health hold at Denver Health. Nobody's coming to see people. They're just there. And I got a visitor. And my son and his wife came in, and she was pregnant. And I remember thinking what I'd done to them. Not only the way I've been living, but my grandbaby was there with her mom, and I tried to take myself out. It just felt so unfair, but I couldn't see anything good out of it. So they kept me in there and they said, you can get out on Tuesday. And I told the doctor, I said, no, you said 72 hours. He said, well, you can sign this paper right here and appeal to the judge. I said, give me that fucking paper. And he says, okay, well, you signed it. He says, well, the judge will be back in Tuesday because tomorrow's Easter Monday, or I can let you go Tuesday. And my ex and one of my best friends had arranged a place for me to go while I was in there. The only way I could get out is if I was willing to go to this place called Shatterproof for rehab, which was down in Florida, and it's a rehab for first responders and military vets, mostly only. There's another part of it this for civilian, but this aspect of Shatterproof was just for us. And so they flew me. So I got out Tuesday. My buddy picked me up. He wouldn't let me out of they were waiting for me as I walked out the door because he was afraid I'd go right to a liquor store.
Would you have?
Maybe if he wasn't there. Yeah, I think I would have done it.
Right.
I think now I had a good feeling that I knew the wife. My life exploded. She had my access to my phone, everything. I guess I kind of feel
everything you ever lied about.
Like you take a circular bomb and you throw your lie in there, and you throw your PTSD in there, and you throw your cheating in there, and your infidelity and your bad person. You throw everything in that bomb. When I got caught that day, it was like that fuse lit. And I knew I was blowing up. I just was hoping it was taking me with it so I didn't have to live through the damage, But I did. I lived through it. And so they sent me to Shatterproof. My buddy took me from there. We stopped and talked to my ex in a parking lot so she could give me clothes and kick me on my way. And
how did that go?
Man, it was emotional. Obviously.
Was she emotional? Or was she done?
No, she wasn't done. She was a cross between done and heartbroken. Angry and heartbroken. She was so broken of what I'd done to her. And now it was just piling on all this stuff. So I went away to Shatterproof. And my buddy, here's a good guy for you. He got on the plane with me. He was not letting me get on the plane because he knew I'd drink in the airport, knew I'd drink on the plane. And he flew down there with me. And we landed at like 10 o'clock at night. They put me in the rehab and I was bawling. And he just hugged me goodbye. And he said it was like dropping a puppy off at the pound. He said it was sad, man. He said, you had them little welled up puppy dog eyes and we dropped you off. And he says, and I had to go away. And it broke him. He was really sad.
I bet.
But I went into Shatterproof and I was, like I said, I was willing to admit I was crazy. I did not want to admit I was an alcoholic because,
when did you finally come to that?
I think part of the way through there, I knew. We had a lot of AA when we were in there, and they did a lot of things. They did brain mapping, we did PTSD testing, and I tried blaming it on that. But all of it circled around. I was covering everything I was struggling with. Like, I won't deny my PTSD score. They tell you anything from a 1 to a 38 on this test is considered mild or moderate. Above a 38 is considered severe. So I like to win. So I scored a 58 to make sure I scored way above that 38.
Can you describe that a little bit? Some of our first responders may understand that, but
I had developed it over the years, and I don't know. You know, you should deal with it. You should talk to people, and now that's kind of my thing.
Go ahead.
As soon as I got out of Shatterproof, I went home and I started going to meetings. Like I got home May 10th.
yeah, same.
Yeah,
2 years,
after you.
Yeah,
May 10th, 2024, I got home and I was at a meeting by May 11th, 2024 in the morning. And I started doing 90 and 90 and went. And it took me, I didn't have a sponsor. It was 44 days before I got out of the mental health hold and the rehab. So I had 44 days sober. And it probably took me another 2 weeks, 3 weeks to find the guy that I asked to sponsor me. And then we worked the steps and went through it, and that was life changing. That was when a lot of this started coming out, you know. And I know you push, you know, you go quick, and I don't think he did with me, and I think he realized that I was a hard case. There was a lot to deal with in there. There was a lot of
your fourth and fifth had to take a while.
There was a lot of fucked up shit in my head, and so he did a great job. The guy's amazing. One of my best friends. You know, like I would consider him the way you guys get along is the way we get along. We
fucking hate each other.
Fuck that
exactly.
guy,
I can't stand my guy. He's a pain in the ass.
If your
Bossy
sponsor
son of a
doesn't piss
bitch.
you off at a certain point in time, he get another sponsor. He ain't doing his fucking job.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I got a sponsee now, a guy I'm working with, and it's
Run, motherfucker, run.
you did. You already cussed me out. I actually sent you a text because you said, if you got a sponsor that makes you write anything for the first step 1 or 2, that's your fault. You chose that cocksucker.
When I said, don't bitch at me about it. You chose the motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, I did.
I'm just saying because all I'm saying is because this doesn't say to do that. So
I know it doesn't.
Yes, but again,
I actually did have him write something, and the reason I did because
good, and it just that's great.
You know what I say is we have alcoholics. You hear everybody's drunkalogs. Nobody ever really tells you their drunkalogs where they were face down sleeping under a bush in a pile of cat shit. They tell you about, oh, me and my buddies jumped off this roof and we did this crazy fun shit. So I wanted my sponsee to remember, hey, it wasn't the time with your bros.
Right.
I want to know why you're powerless. And he told me some things, and I said, write that down. That's what I want you to look back and remember.
I like that.
December 8th, I woke up and somebody had shit in my pants.
And put them back on me. Yeah. A cat came in and shit in my mouth.
How's your relationship with your children's mom and your children at now?
Oh, I'm glad you
Where
brought
are you
that
guys
up.
at?
So when I was in rehab, I asked my sons, my spouse, my ex wrote me an impact letter, and it was, man, brutal. Of all the shit I'd done. So I asked my sons to do it. And now one of them, the younger one, we're so tight. He's like, Dad, I never saw a problem. Well, bullshit. But he just doesn't want to admit it. And I tried to talk to him about it. The older one said, all right. And he wrote a letter, and it was rough. It was really rough because I thought all the years my alcoholism was only affecting me.
We only hurt ourselves. Come on.
Yeah, I was only hurting myself. And man, the damage I did to that poor kid, that's why we were talking about college. That's why when he went away, he was gone. I wanted to be away from you because of the way I was. But now they're like, I asked them if I could use their names coming on here. They're so happy. They're like, Dad, you're doing great. We're proud of you. So it's really better. And my granddaughter's been born since I've been home. And I got to babysit her on New Year's Eve. And then, like I sent these guys a picture 2 weeks ago. I got a babysitter for like 3 hours. We were playing. And it's different. It's making me value
one
things.
drink away, baby.
One drink away from losing all that shit.
And, or one bullet away in your case.
Yeah, one bullet away.
Have you ever thought, you got a long ways to go, and I can see where God's going, but giving back to first responders, starting something for the young ones that are coming in, so they don't have to, they don't want to. They can choose to get help, but they can choose to. What was the word you used when you debrief?
Mm-hmm. And I think we touched on that, but I didn't get back to it.
Right.
So
there's supposed to be a topic.
When I go home,
no, we brought it up already.
No, it was somebody asked me, but I didn't finish. It was in September. When I go back, I'm supposed to go speak at for Denver for anybody that wants to come here to talk to some of those guys. However, it was that's where the rub is with the city of Denver. They would have never invite me back. The union is inviting me back because they can do it. They're a union. But the city of Denver would never invite me back because they let me go. And then the same thing with other departments. If they would ask me, I'd come speak because we can't bury this shit. You have got to not bury this shit. And burying it with booze is just a mess.
Have you worked through the union for that? The union is probably would be strong for that.
No, well, they're trying to get me to come talk to their guys, but when I disappeared, they knew their hands were tied. There was nothing.
No. What I don't care about any of that. What I mean is going to come. The union ought to be wanting you to come in and talk.
Do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
They're the people that have asked me.
Right.
Yeah, and I'd like to go talk and let people know that apparently burying PTSD and emotional trauma with booze is not the way to go.
God bless it.
Now I just found that out.
Who would have guessed it?
Yeah, who'd have known?
Damn it.
These last 3 weeks have been fun listening to old episodes. Please go back and listen to much more. Our next episode, we will be back with all new content and guests.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Unfiltered podcast. If you'd like to reach out to us, please email us at recoveryunfilteredpodcast@gmail.com.